Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Everyday Podcast. This is the show where you can learn English while enjoying fun and inspiring conversations. Today's episode is very special because we're talking about 2025 resolutions and learning some wise advice about life from someone with lots of experience. Why should you stick around? Well, you'll hear stories that might just inspire your own New Year's goals, learn useful English phrases to expand your vocabulary, and gain some timeless life lessons. I'll be back later on the vocabulary segment, so grab your notebook, get comfortable, and enjoy the show. Now, let me pass it over to our lovely host, Sophia.
Thank you, Marco. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia, your host, and today I have the pleasure of introducing someone very close to my heart, my grandpa, Mr. Thompson. Grandpa, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Sophia told me I'd be talking to her students, but I didn't realize it would be on a podcast. What a surprise.
It's like a radio show, but much cooler. Now, let's dive right in. The topic today is 2025 resolutions. Do you have any resolutions for the new year?
Resolutions, huh? Well, Sophia, at my age, you don't think about resolutions the same way you youngsters do. But if I had to choose, I'd say staying healthy and spending more time with family. Those things matter the most to me.
That's such a wonderful goal. I think a lot of us could learn from that simplicity. So, Grandpa, what advice would you give to people like me, young and full of energy, when it comes to setting resolutions?
Well, Sophia, my advice is this. Keep it simple. Don't try to change your whole life overnight. Focus on one or two goals that really matter to you. You see, the problem is, people often make a long list, but by February, they can't even remember half of it.
Oh, exactly. That's so true. I think many of us are guilty of that. We make these big plans, but get overwhelmed and give up.
Exactly. And here's another tip. Don't just write down what you want to do. Think about why you want to do it. For example, if your resolution is to exercise more, ask yourself, is it because I want to look good, or is it because I want to feel stronger and healthier? Understanding your why makes it easier to stay motivated.
Wow, that's really powerful advice, Grandpa. I don't think many people think about the why behind their goals. Speaking of staying motivated, have you ever made a resolution that you actually stuck to?
Oh, absolutely. Many years ago, I decided to start journaling every day. I wanted to write down my thoughts, feelings, and lessons I learned from life. It wasn't easy at first, but over time it became a habit. And you know what? It's one of the best things I've ever done.
That's amazing. I had no idea you kept a journal. What kinds of things do you write about?
All sorts of things. Sometimes it's about something funny that happened during the day. Other times, it's about serious thoughts or lessons I want to remember. Of course, there are a few entries complaining about your grandma's cooking. But let's keep that between us.
Don't worry, your secret is safe with me and our listeners. Speaking of Grandma, how does she feel about your journaling?
Oh, she loves it. She always says I should publish my journals one day, but I don't think anyone would be interested in the ramblings of an old man.
I think you'd be surprised, Grandpa. Your stories and lessons are so inspiring. Speaking of lessons, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's an easy one. My father always told me, life isn't a race. Focus on doing your best, not being the best. Those words have stayed with me my whole life. It's so easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to others. But in the end, The only person you need to impress is yourself.
That's such beautiful advice, Grandpa. I feel like we could all use that reminder, especially in this age of social media, where everyone is constantly comparing themselves to others.
Absolutely, Sophia. Life is too short to waste time worrying about what others think. Focus on what makes you happy and what helps you grow as a person.
Thank you so much, Grandpa. I know our listeners will appreciate your wisdom just as much as I do.
It's been a pleasure, Sophia. And to everyone listening, remember, take life one day at a time and enjoy the little moments.
Wise words, Grandpa. Thank you for sharing your stories and advice. Now, let's go back to Marco to explain some of the key words and phrases we've used today. Marco, take it away.
It's vocabulary time with Marco.
Thanks, Sophia. What a great conversation between Sophia and her grandpa, right? Now, let's take a closer look at some of the key words and phrases they used. Resolution. A resolution is a promise or goal you make, usually at the beginning of the year. For example, my resolution is to practice English every day. Overwhelmed. Feeling like you have too much to do or too much to think about. For example, I feel overwhelmed when I try to do too many things at once. Motivated. When you have the desire or energy to do something. For example, I feel motivated to exercise after listening to inspiring stories. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a journal or diary. For example, journaling helps me reflect on my day and organize my thoughts. Wisdom. Knowledge and advice that comes from experience. For example, Grandpa shared his wisdom about life and setting goals. Now, here's a challenge for you. Try using these words in your own sentences this week. And don't forget, we've included a free PDF with all of today's vocabulary and examples. Download it from the link in the description.
Thank you, Marco. And a big thank you to Grandpa for joining us today and sharing his wisdom.
You're welcome, Sophia. It was my pleasure. And to all your listeners, remember, life is about progress, not perfection. Take it one step at a time.
Beautifully said, Grandpa. To our listeners, I hope this episode inspired you to think about your own resolutions and appreciate the wisdom of the elders in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Keep practicing your English every day. And if you're about to sleep, try to listen to our playlist. Learning English while sleeping is one of the best ways to improve English faster. Check the description or just click this middle screen. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now, and Happy New Year.